So, hello and welcome. My name is Justin Douglas. I am pastor at the Belong Collective, and you are probably viewing this on one of the Belong Collectives, either Instagram or Facebook, or maybe it's something we sent through email to you or you're on our website. Just want to let you know that this is one of the reflections that we're posting, but this particular one also comes with a little bit of a call to action or a call to opportunity. So daily, we're going to be posting reflections for you to kind of center yourself in this season, in this time of connecting in different ways where we can't connect in person physically. We can still connect here in this space of social media and of video technology. And so, with that being the case, I just wanted to take a moment and say, in this time, following Jesus is still about being with the vulnerable, considering the vulnerable. I think it's so interesting that the ministry and life of Jesus was centered around those who were vulnerable. And the truth is, right now, I think we all kind of feel a sense of vulnerability. No matter who you are, you probably feel a sense of vulnerability to being exposed to this, to the economic realities of this, to just the disruption of the normal. Maybe you're very routine oriented. This is challenging your typical routine. There are all kinds of ways that we can be feeling vulnerable in this season. And so the truth is like, first and foremost, Jesus is with us amidst our own vulnerabilities. As we find ourselves feeling very vulnerable, for whatever reason that may be, Jesus identifies with us in that place and is with us. And even as we said on Sunday, is telling us, peace be with you in that place of maybe fear and anxiety and vulnerability. Now, as followers of Jesus, we're called to be with the vulnerable ourselves. Even in Matthew 25, 31 through 46, we are told to go and be with and even see Jesus in those who are most vulnerable, those who are in prison, those who are hungry, those who are sick. We're told to even consider those who are in need of all of these various things. And when we actually serve them, we're serving Jesus, is what we're told in this passage. In essence, it's the reality that every single person, every single individual is an image bearer of God. And when we care for them, in essence, it is as if we are caring for Jesus. When those people that others would walk by and ignore are seen, are recognized, their vulnerability is considered. In those moments, there is something special occurring. It's modeling the selfless love of Christ in that moment. And so, how do we do that amidst this particular pandemic that we're in right now, where we have these physical limiters? First and foremost, I think we pray. Like, we believe in the power of prayer. We believe that prayer can do things, can intervene, can change our particular situation. So we pray, and we pray for those who are most vulnerable through this entire situation. And you can probably think of a lot of people that are vulnerable, certainly those who are vulnerable to getting sick and maybe would be part of that at-risk population. And so we need to be praying for that at-risk population. We certainly need to be praying for our healthcare professionals right now, as they have so much on their plate, so much they're planning for, and so much they're thinking about through this crisis. How are they going to respond appropriately while also taking appropriate precautions and protocols? Like, they have so much on their plate. And then on top of that, we think about the people who are maybe hourly wage employees and are maybe considering what this is going to mean for their particular life and their economics, the economics of their life, or maybe the single mother who maybe is working two jobs to make ends meet, and this is putting a big strain on how she's going to provide childcare, or without maybe having the school obviously there in this situation. And then also maybe there's food involved and a shortage of that for that particular mother. I think of, like, if they're living paycheck to paycheck, this can be a real trouble. And so first and foremost, I want us to pray. Like, legitimately pray for all the vulnerable people, or those people who through this crisis are going to be put in high stress situations. I've talked to multiple people, doctors and people in the medical field, just over the last 48 hours, and they're expecting just it to be very difficult over the coming days. And I think we should be praying that God would open up ways, that God would give them wisdom, that ultimately they would know how to use the gifts that God has given them in the best ways in this particular season. Next, I think we should think about what we can do from our position. And here's where I want to say what we're launching as the Belong Collective. So as the Belong Collective, if you go to our website, our new landing page is actually going to be an opportunity for you to fill out a form and let us know what you need. Now, we can't guarantee we can meet your need. There's going to be some questions there so you can give us some details about your particular need and how we might be able to meet that. But here's some things we're thinking about. As I've talked to a couple different doctors today on some things that we might be able to provide, two things come to mind. Number one, food, and number two, medication. And here's where I want to say, if you are in that at-risk population, for you leaving the house right now is definitely something that is going to could potentially compromise your health. And we would say, like, let's try to consider that vulnerability. Yet you may need supplies. You may need food. You may also need your prescription medications to be picked up, because we wouldn't want you to stop taking the prescriptions that a doctor has determined are most healthy for you right now, whether this virus is out there or not. And so how can we maybe help you if you're in that at-risk population to send somebody to pick up that medication for you, or to send somebody to the store to pick up some food for you? We want to think about how we can help in those ways. And maybe you have a need that doesn't fall under those two categories, and we can consider it, or we can try to plug you in. But it might be that we send out someone who falls into a less at-risk population. It's not that there's no risk here, because the truth is the loving thing is always going to have some semblance of risk to it. But hopefully it would consider your vulnerability and how we can aid that particular vulnerability with maybe people who are less vulnerable. And so we want to think about how we can help in that way, maybe mobilize some people to go out and make a quick errand run, maybe on top of a run they're already planning on making, and ensure that this particular person gets their medication or this particular person gets food. We want to become aware of the needs in central Pennsylvania specifically, and plug our people into those potential needs if it is safe, relatively safe, and if it's something that we feel like we can meet. Even if we only meet a few needs, we want to meet as many as possible. And so that's why we thought of some different systematic ways of approaching this. And the struggle is that the truth is, when we start thinking in systems, we tend to think big. And right now, thinking big creates crowds, creates multiple touch points in one particular area. And that's just not something that seems, again, as I talk to doctors, seems like something that we would want to promote in this particular season. But considering what your unique need is what we would like to do. And so if you have a unique need, you can go to our website, thebelongcollective.org. And when you go there, you can see on the landing page, there's a form that will be there for you to fill out. And then that form immediately will get sent to us, and we'll be able to begin considering that need, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. And maybe we can meet a lot of needs. Maybe we can only meet a few, but hopefully we're doing something to be with the vulnerable in prayer and in thought, but then also in action. And so today, I want you to think about how maybe you might be able to, maybe you're in a less vulnerable category and you might be able to aid in this, and you maybe want to even let us know that you're willing to help. We are going to create some type of way for you to let us know that you're willing to help in this way. But then also, if you have needs, let us know. Or if you know other people who may have needs, please let them know that this service will exist in some form for them, or that we hope that we can meet maybe some of their needs. And then ultimately just continue to think about how God might expand your love in this season. Ultimately, we are called to live in love in the way of Jesus. And that love looks like self-sacrificial love. And in this particular season, it's so easy to become inwardly focused. It's so easy to even hoard our love. Like, it's not just about hoarding toilet paper. I know that's kind of the running joke right now, but it's also about this idea that sometimes we kind of can hoard love. Like, I don't want to love because that exposes, like, I'm at risk if I love somebody, if I show compassion right now, because right now I need to be thinking logically about all the things that I need to get by. But I want us to really try to say, okay, how can I be responsible with what I need to do? Certainly, I need to be responsible and thoughtful and aware of how to take care of myself, but ultimately also how to take the proper precautions. But I don't want that to impede my ability to love others through this. Yes, we might have to get creative in the way we love others, and that's what we're trying to do, trying to help you in that. But maybe you even have neighbors next door that you can express love to. Maybe there's a list of people that you have thought about reaching out to that you can write letters to, or you can make phone calls and talk to people that you maybe haven't connected with in a long time, and just connect with people. There are still so many ways to connect and to share the love of Jesus with one another. So I implore you to go and find those creative ways and do that. And until next time, peace be with you.